Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. There have you a Battlegroup preview of the 16th Panzer. This is the second of two divisions available in the first Nemesis DLC, Sandomierz. This DLC is available to everybody for free, so make sure to go pick it up. Big props to Eugen for doing that. Alright, if you'd like to read the description of the division, feel free to pause, but I'm going to be jumping straight on in. So this is an absolute beast of a division. It has the brand new King Tigers. They are pretty expensive. I'll be looking forward to showing them off, and that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go through all of the new units as usual, and then we're going to throw together a quick battle group. So let's start off in the Recon tab. So we have the BMW R75, of course, the Recon motorcycle. There is the Aufklärer. These do have different armor cars available, including the 221 and the lovely 222, so that's very nice. Then there is the 231 available. The Spätrupp. These can also come in a Recon half-track at least. That's kind of nice. The 233 is also available in this division, and the Aufklärer Panzer 4J. Nothing terribly new here, but it is nice that this division does come with the Aufklärer with 222s for sure, and does have other decent recon support available. Infantry Tab. First of all, 2 cards of Pioneers are available. Standard stuff, the close range HE grenade available there. Pioneer Führer are available. Get 3 of those in phase 8. Panzerkin Pierre. These are available in all phases. In terms of transports, you can get the 250-110, which is the half track with the AT gun on top of it. Or you can just use standard half tracks. I think the Pioneer Führer can use the STKFZ 250-17, which is the one with the Panzerbuchse on top. It costs a little bit more. I think the 250-10 is more worth it. But the Panzerbuchse can be interesting to use on top of those half tracks. Then there's the Panzerkin Pierre with Panzerfaust. These can also be brought in with the 251-10s. There is a card of Panzer Grenadiers with MG34s. So as opposed to standard Panzergrens, which have MG42s, these have MG34s. They do cost 5 points less, and you get the same availability as standard Panzergrens. So a nice sort of cheap variant for the Axis side. I think one problem that people have been having with competitive play specifically is that the Allied side infantry is generally getting more value for money because they have cheaper units to use. So looks like here what they've done is they've added cheaper variants of the Panzergrens which are slightly less effective. Only 1 card available though. Stern Pioneers are available, standard Panzergren card, and then there's 2 cards of Panzer Grenadiers with Panzerfaust. Now Panzergrens with Panzerfaust, they come with less availability, so bear that in mind. Right, over to the one and only tank tab of the 16th Panzer. Oh, there it is, boys. Alright, Panzer 4H to start. Just teasing ya. We've got only 1 card of these. 1 card of the Panzer 4H Führer. Standard stuff, seen it all before. 2 cards of the Stug 3Gs. These have a lovely camo on them. Very nice indeed. I think that's the camo you can get from the Finnish DLC. I have that equipped in the armory. Then the Stug 3G Führer is available. 1 card of those. You get 2 cards of Tigers. So therefore that's 16 in phase C if you wanted to. 1 card of the Tiger Führers. And then, of course, the one you've all been waiting for. It is the King Tiger H. Or Königstiger. There you go. Now the difference between this bad boy and the one in the 21st Panzer is that it has extra frontal armor. So this King Tiger is sitting at 200mm of frontal armor. It's almost impenetrable to an IS-2 at max range, I'm pretty sure. So that's scary. And it can put out 230 mils of penetration with basically 60% accuracy base, If you upvet it to 2-star veterancy with a commander nearby, you're looking at 75% accuracy with a 230mm penetration. That is some serious firepower. The gun's the same as the one in the 21st Panzer. But yeah, what an awesome tank that is. 210 points. The price of heavy tanks has gone up. Bear that in mind. Gonna take you a little while to get these in. Alright, over to the support tab. Belgian Gendarmerie are available. No sort of disheartened units to support, so kind of pointless unless you want to use them to bring in the transports. Then we've got the Flampanzer available in Phase A. 3 cards of MG42s available. There's 3 cards of Opel Blitz munitions, a card of the Grille, and the Befehl BMW. So you're looking at Phase A Motorcycle Commander, which is kind of annoying. I'm not a big fan of the Motorcycle Commanders. They can be killed so easily by just like a random mortar shell landing near them. Whereas in Phase B, you can get the SBW 223, which is a lot safer because it has more armor. Well, it has armor to begin with, which is a big difference. And then the Panzer 3K is available in Phase C. Okay, moving over to the anti-tank tab. The anti-tank tab, very lackluster, but not something you're really going to be relying on too much because you do have, of course, the crazy heavy tanks. But Panzerschrecks are probably necessary for this division for close range engagements because you're not going to be wanting to throw your King Tiger into the middle of a town. Stug 3 are available as well. These are a cheap sort of AT Stug variant. And then we have the Pack 40 available as well. Only 1 card though. Over to anti-air. So in the anti-air tab you can get the Flak 38 20mm. These can actually come in the SDK Z11 Flaks. You can only get 6 of them. So you're going to want to bring them in Phase A or in Phase B upbedded. But this SDK Z11 Flak is good for more than just anti-air because it does have armor. And what that means is it's immune to light arms fire and therefore can be used better against infantry than other 20mm sort of like SDKFZs usually. So that's nice. Alright. Mobilwagen is also available. The Mobilwagen has a 37mm on it and with some decent veterancy can do a lot of damage just like the standard 37s on the ground. But what's nice is they have armor and they can move around much faster, of course. So mobile AA to accompany your Tigers is always great. And you get even more in the form of the SDKFZ 71 flak filling. So this flak filling is really nice, but of course, you know, this does suffer from light arms fire and can be taken out quite quickly by artillery. So got to be watching out for that. But the mobile wagons, very, very nice indeed. Right, over to the artillery tab. Right, Beobachter are available. Got the Battlefeuer in there, pretty standard. 2 cards of 81mm mortars. There's a card of Nebelwerfers available from Phase A. Gets 5 in Phase C. There's a card of 120mm mortars, actually 2 cards. There's a card of the SDKZ 251-2s. These mortar half-tracks with the 40 HE shells. These are slightly more expensive than the 257 variant. But they do have that extra ammo to make up for that. And you got the Vespa. The Vespa is probably one of my least favorite self-propelled artillery pieces. Yeah, not a big fan. Nebelwerfer 42 though. This is more like it. Get a couple of these in Phase C, you can really make some headway. Very nice indeed. Can bring them in with the mortar munitions as well. And then finally the Hummel. The Hummel's very, very nice. Good firepower at range. Sort of good at not being killed by counter battery because they have that extra armor. Alright, finally, let's jump into the air tab. So, recon aircraft in the form of the GO-145B. These do have 2 napalm bombs, so they can force a unit to move from its original location, but probably won't leave that much napalm on the ground, so won't do much damage. But yeah, will unseat things like AT guns. Then you got the Ju-87 D5s. These are the Hungarian Ju-87s supporting. One 250 kilogram bomb for 50 kilogram bomb. Very nice actually. Good payload in phase A. You can get 2 of them for 70 points pop. Pretty nice. Then you got the Focke-Wulf F8R1. This one comes with 4 50 kilogram bombs. Good for killing off AT guns and support weapons. Just like the IL-2s are. But you get 3 of these and they're pretty fast. 560 km/h speed. So yeah, nice fast bombing support. You can also get the Focke-Wulf G3R5. This has 1 250 kilogram bomb and 4 50 kilogram bombs. This is better at taking out tanks than the standard Focke-Wulf. But yeah, probably not necessarily my first choice. Only costs 5 points more though, so there is that to consider. And then there's the Focke-Wulf 190F8 with 8 50 kilogram bombs. The one with the 4 50 kilogram bombs that comes in at a faster speed is probably better, just because that speed allows it to outrun fighters, or a lot of fighters. Right, then there's the HE-111 with the 5 250 kilogram bombs. This is actually a reasonably priced bomber for the payload that it has, which is quite nice. And there's the Focke-Wulf 190A8 fighter variant. Standard stuff. And of course, well, I say of course, but they do get a card of the Focke-Wulf 190F8s with Panzerblitz rockets. These are available, I think, in the 5th SS Viking. Something like that. One of those divisions has these available. Actually, it might be the Hamengöring. But regardless, having these available as well as King Tigers, I mean, come on. As if this division needed any more help. But they're available, and I'd recommend bringing them because that's pretty nice indeed. So there you go. That is it for the new units. Nothing crazy in defense. Add some defenses. Bunkers and trenches. There you go. Beautiful. All right. Let's jump into the Recon tab and start putting together a division. So, in general, I feel like you could probably do another Juggernaut for this. And I think both of the divisions that have been released in this DLC are kind of made with Juggernaut in mind because of the sheer amount of heavy armor that you have access to. And being able to bring in 3 cards of these King Tigers is actually insane. Just look at that. Now, of course, that is a lot of points to be spending on King Tigers. But if you manage to get 12 King Tigers on the board, there ain't no stopping you, especially on more open maps at least. Yeah. I still probably wouldn't recommend doing that. You're going to want something cheaper, because a King Tiger is now almost double the price of a normal Tiger. Yeah. So you're definitely going to want some sort of like Panzer IVs in phase A. Maybe even some Stugs might be a good shout, like 2-star Stugs. And then only 2 cards of the King Tigers in phase C. We'll make this a Juggernaut division. I'll go into the Recon tab again. Gonna bring some Aufklärer in the 222s, I think. We'll do that in phase A alongside some SBW 233s. Okay, that's our Recon. The Infantry tab is going to want, or it's going to want to be full. So I'm just trying to think like how you would build this. Probably want to bring in the MG34s in phase A. Actually, let's bring these in phase B because they're cheap. I'll bring these in phase B in the upper blitz. Phase A, we're going to do standard Panzergrans in our poblets. And then in phase C, we're going to want some Panzergun to Panzerfaust. Now this is one reason that it might not be a good idea to do Juggernaut, because you're going to have a severe lack of infantry availability in the late game. Unless you specifically plan for it. I mean, I could do this, for example. That would leave me short in the early game. Especially considering there's not any flamers available in the support tab. Then a second card of Pioneers maybe in phase A might do the trick. Okay. Then a card of MG42s is probably necessary. The support tab is thankfully quite cheap. I'm going to do phase B Commander. Anti-tank, I definitely need some Panzerschrecks. We'll bring them in phase A. Anti-air, definitely want the mobile wagons in B. Probably going to do the flak 38s with 20 mils flaks in phase A. And then a card of STKs at 7-1s in phase C. So that's an easy tab to do. Go back to the tank tab. We don't have any leaders yet. So I'm thinking like phase B Battleführer, and then we rely maybe on like Stugs in phase A, the leader Stugs. Maybe some Tigers in the early game. And then phase B, we grab more Tigers. I think that'll be okay. And then maybe we could do like Tiger leaders as well. Leading up to the King Tigers. Because I could bring in these King Tigers in phase B, but I'm not sure that you'd be able to ever afford them unless you're really far ahead. Technically it's only 2 minutes income. Would help out quite a bit. No, I think Tigers are enough in the early game. Unless, of course, somebody does go for the IS-2s early. Right, let's have a look at my artillery tab. I want the Nebelwerfers. Definitely want these. We'll bring them in with the multi-ammunition truck. Saying that, it does make them very expensive. Not much else can use them. Like the Nebelwerfer 41s can use a multi-as. The mortars can't. So I think I might as well bring the Nebelwerfers with multi-munition trucks. And then in phase A, we bring in mortar half-tracks. I'm thinking phase B, we do 120mm mortars, but you only get 4 of them on a card. So I'm actually not a fan of that. Right, we're definitely going to need phase A supply, phase C supply. Let's go in the air tab. I'm going to bring in the Focke-Wulf 190s in phase B, I think. So that we can deal with things like IS-2s if they pop up early. Going to get a card of the Focke-Wulf 190 F8s with the 450 kilogram bombs. They can be fighter bombers. I'm also going to need a card of proper fighters, so we'll bring these in phase B. I'm going to up-vet them to medium agility. The Focke-Wulf 190 F8 R1 can act as my fighter in phase A. Tempted also to bring in a card of the Ju-87 D5s or maybe even the HE-111s. but I'm not so sure about that. Right, we do have 6 points remaining. Card of pack 40s is probably a good idea. I'm going to bring them in with the SDKs at 10s, because these are good for pulling them off-road, getting them into position quicker. Then it's just a matter of whether or not I feel like I'll need heavy artillery in the form of the Hummels. Or maybe we could just go for like a battery of 120 mils in Phase C. But that would require a lot of supply, and I don't really have the supply to do that. So instead, I think I could throw in another card of MG42s in Phase A and just use them as like frontline infantry at the start. That, or bring in like 231s as well, or even another card of Aufklärers with 222s in Phase B. I think making my Phase A better is important. I'm going to bring in more MGs in Phase A. And I think some bombers in C. Only get 4 of the HE-111s though. And these Focke-Wulfs you can get quite a lot of. But the Focke-Wulfs, like the Focke-Wulf 190 G3R5 only has 220 mils, so it's not really good at fighting enemy aircraft if it gets caught out. But with 250 kilogram bombs, it's a lot more of a threat against enemy armor. Don't think we need the enemy armor to be dealt with. Let's go for 231s in Phase A. Okay, so we'll have a very strong sort of Recon Phase A push with the Pioneers MGs to cover at range. And then into Phase B, we start transitioning into the armor, like the heavy armor play. I think that's what we're going to do. And there we have it. I'm going to leave it at that. That's what it's going to look like for me. Another Juggernaut built. Kind of tempted to switch this to Balance, maybe. Balance could also be pretty good for this. Maybe even V for Victory might be worth a try. Because there isn't much to invest in Phase B. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep it Juggernaut. We'll see how it goes. Because then I can really make sure that I have enough points to bring in those King Tigers, plus a few Panzergrens after a couple minutes. Yeah. So, overall, pretty standard armoured division. I mean, there isn't anything particularly new here, aside from the new Panzergren variants and the King Tiger H. But it is a very strong division. And in terms of 3v3, 4v4, this is going to be super, super strong. In 1v1, I feel like this division might not be that good. Saying that, the Recon Tab is pretty strong. And usually Axis side armor, or Recon, Axis side Recon is one thing that makes divisions competitive in 1v1. So, yeah, I think it's worth keeping an eye out for. Biggest thing to consider is that this is an Eastern Front division, technically, which means in Eastern Front 10v10s, we now have King Tigers, where we didn't before, because the 21st Panzer is a Western Front division. So there we go. That's probably my biggest concern with the 16th Panzer, how it's going to affect Eastern Front 10v10s. But we shall see. 210 points apiece with reduced income. Not sure how many King Tigers we're actually going to see. But yeah, should be fun. Make sure to pop along to my Twitch streams where I'll be playing plenty of multiplayer games. And I'll try and get some footage up of these divisions on the channel as well. But yeah. Find all the information about that stuff in the description. For now, that's it. If you'd like the deck codes for this division or the last, those will also be available in the description in my deck code sheet, where you can find the rest of the divisions as well. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.